it's fun. It's really, really fun. Hello there and welcome to my first impressions of Star Wars Outlaws. I was given about 10 days early access to the game through the Ubisoft Creators Program. Thank you to Ubisoft for providing me with access to this game. I've been a member of the Creators Program for about 4 or 5 months now. We've been able to use this program for the podcast and here on our YouTube channel to get early access to some Assassin's Creed Shadows materials. But I must say that I'm a big Star Wars fan and Outlaws was the one I was really looking forward to. I honestly thought I joined the Creators Program too late to be part of the Outlaws release schedule, so to get early access was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. One important item I want to note, we are provided with early access with no editorial control by Ubisoft. We are free to say what we want about the game, and these are my honest opinions of Outlaws. Now, if you want deep dives into gameplay mechanics, advice on the right gear, the right missions, I definitely recommend other channels like Jaw Raptor and Andy Reloads. They are really good for that kind of content. I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to keep it fairly light and give my impressions. I'm going to show video content and screenshots from the first 4 hours or so of gameplay and story, but there is so much damn cool stuff I have seen later in the game, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to keep my comments and the background footage that you see here from the earlier parts of the story. Once I've finished the story and explored more of the game, I do plan to do another video with a final wrap up and final summary of my opinions. So let's go. I've been playing now for about 5 days, and according to Ubisoft Connect I've racked up about 16 hours in the game and I am 52% of the way through the story. The story seems to have a pretty simple structure, a beginning with the key mechanics are tutorialized and the player gets comfortable with the world. There's a midsection where we need to do some spoilery missions that I won't get into, and then there's the big finale. I'm not going to talk about any of that today. The game makes a great first impression. After setting some basic accessibility options, which will be familiar to players of recent Assassin's Creed games, you are straight into an intense introduction cinematic, which sets the scene of skullduggery and conflict between criminal gangs in the galaxy. And then we are straight into interactive gameplay. No main menu, no graphics options, just straight into it, and it looks great right out of the box. It's a very impressive start. On a second load, I did spend more time in the graphics options. I play on PC. I'm not a fan of post-processing, motion blur, film grain, chromatic aberration. I turned all those off. I play on a 4K screen here, so I was trying to find graphics settings that would keep a steady 60 frames per second at 4K. But actually, even with my Ryzen 7 7800 X3D and RTX 3090, I couldn't hit that frame rate at that quality level. I'm not really a fan of DLSS, although this game does support all of the different upscalers. The balance setting to me looked rather washed out and fuzzy, so the best balance I could find between picture quality and frame rate was DLSS quality mode targeting 4K and a mix of medium and high graphic settings and ray tracing set to low. On the subject of visuals, this game is absolutely full of light and colour. But there's also a volumetric character to the lighting. You aren't just seeing, the lights sprayed across walls or across ceilings or sources of light from fires. You're seeing a depth to the different colours, and the lighting actually illuminates the mist and fog and dust that's part of this game's visual style. It is a very impressive visual presentation. Okay, let's talk about important things first. Photo mode. It was honestly the first thing I tried when the game launched, and it's got all of the control you would expect. It's very easy to use, very responsive. I particularly like the camera sensitivity option. There's enough here to get you started without being overwhelming. I did experiment with some portrait pictures, and I was able to get some nice portraits of Kay, and very easily tweak the saturation and contrast and get some nice light and shadow playing across her face. It isn't the most flexible photo mode. I'd probably still call out Horizon Forbidden West and Ghost of Tsushima as having the finest controls and the most flexibility and customization of any photo modes, but it's still good. Kay Vess is our protagonist and is introduced as a bottom of the rung petty criminal, a scoundrel, and we don't really know much about her, at least initially. Kay has her faithful companion Nyx that you will have seen from the trailers and from gameplay videos. Nyx is a very cute galactic dog or cat creature with a very close bond to Kay. Nyx acts like a classic video game companion character, giving our protagonist someone to talk to and to emote with when we are alone. But Nyx is not just a passive character, Nyx is interactive. Nyx can be used to collect items in the environment, to pickpocket, and then as you move into the heists, to distract and attack guards, to open vents and unlock pathways in the world. So Nyx is both a passive companion character but also an active part of your gameplay, and I think you'd struggle to complete missions without Nyx. This game immediately feels very Star Wars, and I was impressed with the opening cinematic and the opening story chapter. The tutorial mission is very easy. You're likely here because we like to talk about Assassin's Creed, so for you AC fans this will feel pretty easy. The intro chapter introduces sneaking as a core part of the gameplay, and it remains so throughout the game. All the other major gameplay elements are also introduced in a natural way. We're exploring the world, we're talking to characters to pick up clues for missions in a way that feels very real. There was some platforming that felt almost a bit old school, although I'm probably influenced by the complete freedom of movement that we get in Assassin's Creed. And as soon as a game doesn't have it, it can actually feel a little bit restrictive. The early missions actually gave me some Uncharted vibes. We're introduced to stealth takedowns, using Nyx to interact with our environment, and we have a blaster pistol which we can use when we mess up. The blaster is our way of getting out of trouble. The blaster has unlimited ammo, but it does have a cooldown. You cannot keep blasting away forever, so players will need to learn how to manage firing versus that cooldown. I played on regular difficulty and it felt fine. As I said, the opening mission, which I'm not showing here just to preserve some of the mystique, was very straightforward, but it set the scene well and kicked off action to open up the world. I want to call out the vocal performance of Kay's voice actor. I know there's been a bit of discussion about some rather flat and uninteresting vocal performances in recent Assassin's Creed games. Leo Kay talked about this in his recent Shadows video, and I think he has a point. Kay, portrayed by Humberly Gonzalez, has a much bigger range of emotions. She keeps it tight as she's cautious, she has to protect herself. But there's a range of emotions there, there's warmth, there's excitement and so on. There's some swagger and there's some false bravado too. I've remained impressed by her performance. Now, Kay is fragile. She is not a tank. She cannot withstand blaster fire. Sneaking is a core gameplay activity, and if you mess up and you are detected, you don't have many tools to get out of trouble. Now, that's not a downside, just be aware of it. I liked that balance because it really adds risk, it adds excitement, and it really sort of ups the reward when you complete a mission. But it also makes sense for Kay's character. She is a sneak thief who is kind of chancing her arm through the galaxy. I did find the detection and so on to be really punishing in the first big sneaking mission, and I died many times while I was learning what was possible and what was not possible. There isn't really a gradual detection meter as you would be used to in Assassin's Creed. There's yellow and then amber and then red, but it can happen really fast. And as I mentioned, you don't have a huge amount of tools to handle those situations. You can unlock some of them, but I didn't find them all that useful. That's probably down to me pushing through the story and not spending time upgrading various skills, and we'll come to skills in a moment. When you mess up and get detected, stuff is going to go bad for you really quickly, especially if the Empire's after you. Roadblocks are set up, you'll be running for your life or using your speed bike, and crashing into things. Yeah. Don't crash into things, it hurts. Exploration of the world felt really natural. You don't have a map covered in icons. Your HUD is not crammed with question marks. You need to listen, you need to observe, and you need to pick up intel that then reveals locations in the world. You can explore on your speed bike to find locations, but in general, you need to find the intel from other characters in the world to uncover locations. If you're someone who likes to keep your quest log neat and tidy, this is not the game for you. That natural exploration means that you're going to gather intel, you're going to hear rumours, and you're going to collect side quests, which are called intel chains here in Outlaws, very, very quickly. You don't need to do them all, but when you look at your journal it can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. But you have to come back to, what's my plan? Am I building my reputation with the Pikes or with Crimson Dawn? Do I need credits? And just focus on those missions. One gripe I had is the interactivity between the journal, the quest log, and the map. I think the desire to keep a clean map is a good one, remember Unity's map, but sometimes it felt like you have to keep swapping between the journal and the map to work out what's nearby and what's worth doing. A closest opportunity option would be nice, or sorting the journal by distance. The world has plenty of things to do, but it's not crammed with things to do. This is not Odyssey. You are not going to be looting chests every 30 seconds and heading into a menu to upgrade your character every 5 minutes. There is plenty to do, but it feels natural. And I think that's the best word to describe how this game opens up and how it offers content to you. It is natural and it's really, really engrossing and enjoyable. The game world does have a bit of a Metroidvania feel to it and how it opens up. You won't be able to access some areas until you've upgraded your speed bike or added new ammo types to your blaster. So anyone aiming for 100% completion will definitely be crisscrossing the galaxy to complete previously inaccessible areas. I really like how Outlaws has contextualized skills and abilities. These are things that you learn from experts in the world, and you learn them by completing various gameplay tasks. There's no XP, there's no bars to fill, just play the game. Use its various systems and mechanics to unlock those new skills and abilities. It's a really nice part of the game's design. Okay, I'm going to leave this Outlaws first impressions video there. 16 hours played, probably another 16 or so to go to complete the main story. I want to leave you with this summary. This is a really, really fun action-adventure game set in the Star Wars universe, and it doesn't need to be anything more than that. This year I have found it hard to find games that hook me enough that I want to finish them. I've replayed Last of Us Part 1, I did a complete new game playthrough of Odyssey a few months ago. Really, the only game I've played this year that has completely hooked me was Nier Automata, and side note, if you've not played Nier Automata, you really need to. So let me finish by saying this. I've not been so engrossed and interested and had so much enjoyment from a game for a long, long time. This game has me completely hooked.
I'm just trying to tip the scales for people like us, Kay. What do you think?
I'm in.